The School of Atlantic Ballet bringing back its production of A Christmas Carol December the 7th and the 8th. So here to tell us more about that is Program Director J.B. Vanier and new Scrooge, Darren Blois. So gentlemen, how's it going?
Evening.
Pretty good, pretty good.
That's good. I cannot go further without commenting on the coat.
Of course. Tis the season. Tis the season of very cold outside. So I just am prepared, to weather the storm and get to, theater's tough work, so you gotta be warm.
Yeah, you do. So is that Dior? Is that
it was actually designed by a secret Italian tailor in New York.
Okay.
Can't give away his name, much too exclusive. But yes, personally.
Yes,
made
street vendor or off the corner or
bespoke, of course.
Okay. Off Fifth Avenue.
Yes, exactly.
And if we ever decide to do the Grinch, we could use it for that.
Yes, I'm
right.
ready for that. Yes.
That's right. It's very regal. That's the thing that I like about it. It's very
that's how I see myself.
Majestic.
A lot of the time. I think that's the only way to see yourself.
Well, program director comes with its own cash,
exactly,
right? Like it comes with its own gravitas, and that kind of carries with it, and then you'll get to go home on your trusty steed. And,
exactly, absolutely.
Anyway, no, it is windy as all get out outside. So
yeah.
Thankfully we're in here where it's climate controlled and the windows aren't open. But it is very windy. And it's great weather to bring in this season's production of A Christmas Carol coming up next month.
It is. Yeah.
So JB, tell us all about it.
So this is the fifth year now. Fifth? Yeah, I think it's the fifth year of the annual show. So we've been doing it. It originally started when they first opened the school up. And it's the co-production that we do with the professional company. So all of our students are ballet students aged like 3 all the way up to like in their teens in our musical theater and advanced ballet classes. They all perform in the show alongside the professional company and community actors like Darren here. So it's a massive production that we're always pleased to put on. And like it's for a lot of people it's a regular part of the season entertainment with the parade and turners and all that kind of stuff. It's Christmas carols there too, Nutcracker, all that.
Yeah, it's all part of the celebration of the
season. Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you find that you change it up a little bit? Do you try to just keep it fresh, or is it?
Yeah. So I mean, like the story does change, but we always try to add new things. So usually what will happen is that our musical director Jenny Delmott, she'll either come up with some new arrangements for the singing and stuff like that, and then myself and the choreographer Yulia Shevchenko will change the blocking a little bit or add more everywhere we can, adjust a couple things. And whenever we get a new actor, we always try to give them a chance to bring their own movement. There's certain things that have to happen the way they are, just because it's like for expediency's sake. But otherwise, we always try to do something a little different, and bring more every year to the show. Yeah.
And it's an excellent segue because of course we do have Darren here as well. Darren is the new Scrooge.
Yeah.
And
Scrooge in town.
there is a new Scrooge in town. What are you bringing to the role this year? Do you find that you're sticking to the script? Do you find you're putting your own twist on it? What do you think?
It's quite a challenge because for many years the role was played by Peter Denevraville, who's a really good actor.
Friend of the show, he's been on here.
Great. He really owned the character, and I started out in the audience, so I saw him in the audience, and then I played other characters in the show. I've seen him as Scrooge, and I found it hard at first to not just be doing an impersonation of Peter doing the role because he was so good at it. But I think I've learned a few things that I can do that are a little different. I think I'm a bit of a younger Scrooge, maybe a bit of an angrier Scrooge. Because the great thing about Scrooge is the change from being his angry, greedy self to the charitable, loving self he is at the end, and I think I start from maybe an angrier, darker place, so I can show that change into the happier place at the end of the show.
Now, do you find with the role of Scrooge, do you find there's a lot of room for interplay? I know JB talked about kind of changing things up, keeping it fresh. Do you find that there's a lot of your own personal twist you can put on the role of such a classic role? I
think so, because sometimes you read a line and you might think this is an angry line. Sometimes you can make a joke out of it. There's a few things I've tried to throw little jokes in too to get some humor, and there's always, I think you can, anytime you read a script, you always read it through the lens of your own mind, and you always bring your own experience to whatever you're doing, and it's always going to be different when you bring a new person in. So I think people will see it's different from the last few years. I hope they enjoy it.
That's all we can hope. That's the biggest thing, So Darren, let's talk about your history a little bit, because coming in as new Scrooge, I know we were talking just before we went to air about how that theater bug it never leaves you. So tell us a little bit about your own personal history in theater.
Well, I started in school, grade 4, doing school Christmas pageants, just like most kids do. But I stuck with it. eventually, started doing musical theater in high school and in community theater, and I got to the point where I was doing lead roles like Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar and Danny in Grease, and I really enjoyed it. But I obviously, well, not obviously, some people do it as a career. I couldn't do it as a career. I don't know how JB does it.
Well, by wearing coats like
that. Yeah, I don't have the guts to do that. So I went to university and got a career and family and just sort of got away from theater until I came back to Moncton, started a family here. Our kids are in the school, at least my youngest, and so I saw it as a parent. I really enjoy what the company does for kids. I saw it from the audience, and I thought this just looks like too much fun not to be a part of. So I've come out for a few shows. I did Jungle Book with them a couple of years ago. I was in Christmas Carol last year in a different role. And I've also acted in other groups like Hub City doing Shakespeare in the park. And so I probably do 2 or 3 shows a year now. Now I'm fully back.
It's that theater bug, yeah. Just one last question. I know you mentioned that you were you were acting with your kids in the same production. What's that like?
That's great. I go pick up Ella every day because she's there at the daycare at the school, and I pick them up, and all the kids are rehearsing, and you can see them work. Because what's great about the school is they're working with really high, top-level professional dancers and actors and musical people, and so they're all working really hard, but then I come and pick up Ella, and the kids all come up, "Hi, Scrooge! Hi, Scrooge! How are you?" That's a good. Do their little dance for me.
That's a good nickname to have.
It's really good having Ella on the stage. I think she enjoys seeing me up there, and I've enjoyed seeing her come up. She's still young. She's just one of the townsfolk. Doesn't have an individual role yet, but I hope she grows up and wants to do it just as much as I did.
So that's December the 7th and the 8th at the Moncton Wesleyan Celebration Center. So be sure to go check it out. As JB mentioned, of course, this is part of the celebration of the season for a lot of people, and certainly we hope that will continue for most of you. Not the only event coming up before the turn of the calendar, though. JB, I know we were talking about this, the Valet Gala.
The Velvet Gala.
I wrote it down, and it's right on the thing. Gotcha. I misread it. The Velvet
there will be
Gala.
valets there, to take the cars. So
and the coats.
Works, never.
So tell us all about it.
So the Velvet Gala is the annual fundraiser for the ballet. So it's sponsored by Grant Thornton, our founding sponsor. And Igor, the artistic director of the company, he creates new pieces.
Another friend of the show, by the way.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
What a genius, to be honest. So he creates new pieces, and it serves as the big fundraiser for the year. So it's a beautiful event. Everyone's dressed up to the nines, the delicious food, and just some fantastic performances by the professional companies. So that's November 28th at the casino.
Yeah, so be sure to go check that out as well. Again, the key fundraising event. So certainly it's very important. And as the program director, we've got about 3 minutes, so we can get a little bit more into it. But let's remind the folks at home, because not your first rodeo here, but let's remind the folks at home what the School of Atlantic Ballet is all about. So
the School of Atlantic Ballet began in 2012. It's the education arm of the professional ballet, and we run 2 different programs. One is our Arts After School, which is a fully licensed daycare facility, and our students there, they study every day in music, dance, and theater, and they do a variety of dance, and they all get to participate in the productions, and that's kind of always been the focus of our program, because there's a lot of wonderful musical theater in town, but our program is really about putting the kids on stage in front of a paying audience at a professional caliber level that those children can be at. So even our kids in the after-school program get to be in it. And then we have our more individual classes that are evening and weekend, ballet, musical theater, jazz, acrobatics, individual singing classes, drama and all that we teach. And they all get to be part of the show too. And they're the ones that will take a lot of the lead roles. So our Ghost of Christmas Present, Past, they're always students and stuff like that. And when we're coming up on Little Mermaid in the spring, that'll be Ariel will be one of our students and stuff like that, because that's what we really want to pride ourselves on and focus on, is getting kids on stage. And I think that's what separates us from a lot of other programs across the nation, to be honest. There's not really much else like this. It would have been nice to have this when I was a kid,
Yeah, no kidding. But not only that, but another thing that I know that is amazing about what you guys do is that they're working with professionals.
Yeah.
This isn't just teachers. This isn't just, they're true professionals that also work as well.
Yeah, so the ballet classes are taught by our teachers that are professionals in the company. Myself, I worked in Montreal before I came here. Yulia was a prima ballerina everywhere around the world. Jenny's teaches at Mount A. She's fantastic. So our whole staff is is professional, and that's the other caliber that we really measure ourselves against. Yeah.
No, exactly. So where can they find you?
SchoolofAtlanticBallet.com or School of Atlantic Ballet on Facebook. Those are the two best places. Or give us a call, send us an email.
come on in and drop in and see what's going on.
I'm usually there, wearing the coat, ready to go.
Very comfortable coat. It's funny, we mention it all the time. It looks like the most comfortable thing I think I've ever seen.
Do you want to try it on before
I think I'll wear
we run
it.
out of time?
I would love to. Unfortunately, we don't have the time, but I would love to. It looks so comfy, especially in the wind as well. But JB and Darren, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Mike.
Be sure to check it out. That's
Pleasure.
December 7th and the 8th at the Moncton Wesleyan Celebration Center.